All right, folks, this is Rob welcoming you back to the second round of the March Mayhem Showdown. I'm joined here, as always, by my co-host,
Brendan the Color Man.
And because he did such a great job on the first day of the second round, we've brought back our very special commentator,
Adam!
Thank you once again, Adam McCrimmon from XYZ Games, for joining us and giving us your hot takes on these bodacious bouts in the second round of the Game Fight Show March Mayhem Showdown.
Yes, I give commentary. No, I'm not an expert.
I don't buy that for even 1 minute. Adam is the CEO of XYZ Game Labs. Go check him, them, and their hot heat out. Speaking of hot heat, I am looking at two games that are, too hot to hold. Terraforming Mars, well, I guess you have to build the heat in that one. But Terraforming Mars versus the only remaining two-player-only game in the whole bracket, Twilight Struggle.
Hey, I'm 2 for 2 on two-player games.
You know, both Terraforming Mars and Twilight Struggle, if there's one thing you can say about these games, it's that they hinge on card play. Right? Terraforming Mars, you have these cards that you're drafting, you're passing around from one to another. Maybe you'll get the card that lets you have pets. Maybe you get the card that lets you crash a moon into the planet. Either way, you're going to have fun. Over in Twilight Struggle, you have this, I talked about it in the first round, this exquisite choice. Do I play the card myself and lose the good action I get from it? Or do I play one of the cards that helps you? And then while I get something out of it, then you get a bonus. It is every round. It's an excruciating choice to make.
You're on the horns of a dilemma.
That's right. But, you know, other than that, boy, these games are different. This is a real challenge. I mean, we're going to Mars, okay? We're going to terraform Mars, okay? Or we stop the Cold War. What?
Well, maybe the theme of this one is you didn't stop the Cold War and now you need to go to Mars.
That's true. There's too much radiation left over from the big war. Yeah, you know, GMT games, I think we talked about this in the first round too. GMT games not known for their great components. Terraforming Mars, a little infamous for its poor components. So I feel like it's a wash when we compare those two things.
Yeah, both of these games are wonderful to play, but they have some problems with the components. They can be hard to look at.
Yeah, Twilight Struggle's real ugly.
It really is.
It really is. I mean, I get it. It's very, like, it works, and, you know, it's structured, and it's there, and I guess, you know, for the gameplay, that doesn't matter. But I really like a game that's beautiful, and that's not Twilight Struggle.
You know, it fits the ethos of GMT games. They tend to make these games that value gameplay over aesthetics and then say, well, we don't have to bother with aesthetics. I mean, the one thing they have going in their corner is that Twilight Struggle is 15 years old, whereas Terraforming Mars is 4 years old. These should not be reflecting the same level of artistic gravitas.
I like how we're saying all these negative things about these two games that are like in the top 10 of their respective categories, owned by hundreds of thousands of people probably, and are wonderful games to play. It's just they're like ugly sometimes. They don't feel...
You know, Adam brings up an excellent point there. Terraforming Mars is the third seed in the bracket, and Twilight Struggle is not far below it at 7th seed.
And I think we need to remember Twilight Struggle was for a long time the top board game on Board Game Geek. It was the Gloomhaven of 5 years ago. And
for quite a long time.
Yeah. So you really can't count out the people who have all those fond memories of all those gameplays under their belt who are going to come out and vote for this thing. But then again, Terraforming Mars, it is hot. It is like Demos crashing into the board game land in that we have all been burned up by it. It is everywhere. We talked about this. It's always on the table at our game club.
Often multiple copies.
For sure. And it is super fun. I mean, the one thing, it is pretty long. So you're never going to get a quick game of Terraforming Mars. I think people who played Twilight Struggle before...
2 hours. Twilight Struggle can go 3 easy.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe it's a wash either way. There.
It is. They're both long.
Okay.
They're both a battle.
Exactly. Heavily thematic games here.
Exactly. Both heavily thematic games here.
That's true.
One thing you can't say about them is that they're abstracts.
For sure.
Both rely on their theme pretty heavily to guide the design and gameplay.
That's very true.
If I look at this from the standpoint of like, what do I want to do? Do I want to spend a couple hours trying to stop the Cold War? Or do I want to terraform Mars? I think I want to terraform Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds much more fun.
And
there is something to be said for going to a game for a bit of escapism. And the possibility of terraforming Mars is more removed from most people's lives than the possibility of preventing a Cold War in most people's lives, I suspect.
And I think, there is always a limiting factor for game audiences when you're playing a history game, because at some point you're like, well, didn't this already happen? Like, so what am I doing?
I mean, I still enjoy killing Hitler every time I do it in Black Orchestra.
Fair enough.
I will say that. It is. We should all do it.
If there's one thing we can all agree on.
It's a lesson we learned in Wolfenstein and have carried forward with us. Brendan, Adam, I'll put this to either of you. Brendan, I think we can throw in our 2 cents and still maintain our journalistic integrity. Do you think that Terraforming Mars having one designer, whereas Twilight Struggle has 2, is going to have any effect on the gameplay that could affect the outcome of this bout?
Well, certainly I think Jason Matthews, I don't know Ananda Gupta's other games, but I know Jason Matthews, he designed 1960, The Making of a President. He's got a couple other games under his belt that are well received as well. The card play that's a big part of Twilight Struggle is sort of one of his hallmarks. So he's certainly going to have other fans coming out. As far as I know, Jacob Frixelius, this is Terraforming Mars is his only game.
Well, it's not up to us to tell people what metric they should use for voting, but it is up to us to tell them that they should go to Twitter to @GameFightShow.
@GameFightShow.
And vote, vote, vote. Oh, there's the gong that tells us it's time to throw to Eleanor for the results from yesterday's big bout between TI4 and Puerto Rico.
All right, I'm here with your results. Scrappy 22nd seed Puerto Rico had its fill of imperialism as it cast off and defeated 6th seed Twilight Imperium in another huge upset here in the March Mayhem bracket. All right, that's all for today.
Well, those were 2 beloved old games that went into that bout. You knew only one of them was going to come out, but there was no way to guess what was going to happen.
It was exactly what I expected, Rob.
I am shocked!
Well, that's what this is all about, so come back tomorrow for some more shocking results as we bring the hot heat here in the second round of the March Mayhem Tournament. On behalf of myself, Game Fight Show's audience, and Brendan Riley, I'd like to thank Adam McCrimmon for being here today and wish you all a wonderful day.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.